On this episode of Two Dudes, One Cart, John and I sit down and talk about the cost of golf, public courses, and how expensive they are, especially those that are at the upper echelon. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Two Dudes, One Cart. Well, everybody, the boys are back. We're back in Indiana where you never know what tomorrow may bring. We're in those months of the year. I think you've all seen John headed to the golf course expecting 70s. Turns out it's in the 40s. Then I don't know. You go inside for a half hour, come out, and it may be 82. Welcome to Indiana. I hope everybody's doing well. Summertime is coming. We're getting enough rain that every course in this state better be as lush as possible. And I don't want to hear any damn excuses. John, how you doing?
Oh,
Rant
doing
over.
wonderful. Doing wonderful, Stephen.
Well, John, I thought we would talk about the cost of golf. Before we get into, what's going on, the PGA Tour, Caddy moves, stuff like that, I did a little research and I have the top five, what I think I've found the most expensive
Mm.
public courses in America.
Yeah.
How many of these do you think you know?
No, three probably. I'm gonna go with Shadow Creek, Vegas.
At $1,250, they are number one.
Yep, I figured that. I would probably go with TPC Sawgrass around 8 or 900.
$900
Yep. And I'd probably say Pebble.
at 675.
Yep.
Right behind them would be Kiowa Island Ocean Course at 650
Ooh.
and the
Yep.
Wynn Golf Course in Vegas at 600.
Okay. I didn't know if Wind would still be up there with Shadow Creek being that high, so that's interesting to
Now,
know.
what do you think? What's your rate? Where do you top out, or is it some things you just can't pass up?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to take in, I mean, I probably would not pay face value for any of those five courses listed, right? Especially the ones in Vegas. I'm going to try to get hooked up with my host at Caesars, see what they can do, comps or whatever. TPC Sawgrass, that would mean that'd be pretty memorable. But for $900, I probably wouldn't play it, and then Pebble, it's a once in a lifetime thing. I might try to play that once or see if we can get a group deal and go play Spyglass too, because I actually heard Spyglass is a more scenic course than even what Pebble is.
Yeah, and I really like the Kiowa Island Ocean Course. I've always wanted to play that. That'd be a tough one. Do I want to pay 650 to play there?
No
I
one
don't
wants to
know.
pay that. I mean,
Well, but you know
everyone's
what
like,
I'm
oh,
saying.
yeah.
If the opportunity arises for some reason and you got a car ride down there, whatever. But
Yeah. I guess I'm in the one, no more than probably 250 around is what I would be willing to pay. Some of those um, desert golf courses we played in Palm Springs were approaching the $200 range. And I didn't feel bad about paying that, especially for the amenities and just a lot of the stuff was included that you'd pay out of pocket for at some of the other courses. So, uh, you know, that's vacation money. So that spends a little easier. But Indiana, if I'm paying over $100, it's got to be the Brickyard. It's got to be, you know,
dies,
Dies Walk. Yeah, Dies and
not dies
even
walk.
Ross. Yeah, Ross course Dies, um, or a really nice private club, But I'd still wouldn't want to pay over 200, 250 on any of those courses.
Yeah. The other thing you think about, like you get up into your Aaron Hills, Whistling Straits,
Yeah.
you get up into some of those, and you're going to be paying a pretty penny to play those. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I looked at those, I looked at the list, and I was like, man, eh, and I get it, those are premier courses, but at the same time, you look around at what your average public course is costing right now, and I know, everybody falls back to we had such a boom at COVID time and
Yep.
yada yada yada. Um, but I mean, there's got to be some kind of break for the people that just want to get out and play golf, don't you think? There's got to be something.
Yeah.
It's. I hate to say that. Well, at 2 o'clock in the middle of August, you can get on for, you probably get a deal 2, 3 o'clock. Some courses still do that, but some of these courses that you see on TV that you would really like to go play, my goodness, you
Yeah.
better really want to play there.
Yep. I mean, you're going to be spending over a couple $100. You're going to probably be in that $200 to $300 um, cost
Range.
for tea time,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. Um, I mean, we've talked about trying to get group rates, booking way in advance to help minimize those costs. But if you're going to go play any premier course, I think you just have to realize you're going to spend $200 minimum.
Yeah, I definitely I can see that, and part of me wants to go that now we've kind of normalized that. That you're
Yep.
like, oh, well, it's only $200. It's like we've both been to Big Cedar.
Yep.
Um, we've played the Tiger course. We've played the almost every course there. But do you think that course is worth that Paynes Valley? Do you think that's worth $200?
Uh, it's worth $200 if you have the right lodging on prem, right? And you don't have to drive, you don't have to leave. You actually stay at the cottages, but then you got to know that you're probably spending for like 3 nights. You're probably spending $500 a man on just on lodging to go stay there on prem. But if you're gonna do it, that's the way to do it, and that's the only way I'd feel comfortable. I mean, I would like to go back, but I would only go back if we got a heck of a deal.
Yeah, and if you think back, I mean, it was pretty fresh when we went and played it.
Yep.
Um, and it
It
was
was
a
literally
it was
8 months old.
it was a 190 replay rate then.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's
So I
probably a 250
that's
replay
probably
rate.
yeah, that's the part that's bothering me.
Probably 400 on the regular tee sheet, 350 somewhere in there.
But do you feel like it's the course taking advantage of striking while the iron is hot, if you will,
Yep.
or do you think it's a little bit of gouging?
Well, I think there's obviously costs have increased overall with everything. Inflation hit everybody. Um, I think the demand of golf now is at an all-time high. Um, I don't ever remember a point in my life of 37 years of more people golfing than there are today. So with that, I think the courses know what they can get away with, or at least they're trying new things and increasing the pricing to accommodate the demand for it. So do I like it? No. Does it make sense? Yes.
Well, and then my follow-up to all that would be fine, but the service and what you expect when you arrive there should also be on the come up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to charge that, it better be a goddamn good experience, right?
Right. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, it has to. It has to go hand in hand.
it's gotten to where that, and now don't get me wrong, most of these courses aren't that way, but you get to some of your local public courses that have elevated their pricing, but you're also still paying $14 for a small bag of range balls, or you're
Yeah,
also you're waiting on a cart, or there is no ranger, or there's
Yeah, there's nothing
The
else.
greens are
Nothing has
spotty.
changed. Yeah,
Yeah, the bunkers haven't been raked since like 87 at some places, it seems like. I'm not saying that's
yep,
true. Rain, weather, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that accompany that. Some people don't rake the bunkers, blah, blah, blah. But when you pay a certain rate, I think you have a certain anticipation.
yeah. I think your expectations increase as the price increases.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. You're not going to roll up to Pebble and pay 675. There's not going to be many things out of place, when
Yeah,
you go to somewhere like that.
yep. But even if Prairie View last year was $120, right? And I'm like, man, that's not a $120 course. You play it, you're like, oh, everything looks the exact same. The staff inside's not really that friendly. The cart boys that are washing your cart don't say hi to you or whatever. They just take your cart and it's still everything's on you to do. So I did not play there unless it was like a company outing scramble, right? I would go like those off days. We'd go to Trophy Club or Bear Slide where the pricing was still sub $80, and you know, great. I don't mind not having great service because I don't really need you guys aren't doing anything for me. I'm here to because it's a more cost effective course, and I would say decent shape to good shape, and you getting what you pay for.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that there, but I just looking at that list, man, I was like, God dang.
Yeah,
There's people paying it every day though,
every day, and T sheets are booked.
and it's just going to keep happening. I'm not saying that, hey, oh, we
Yeah,
shouldn't go to any of these courses. That's not it. It's just kind of one of those things. It's eye-opening when you think about the actual cost, and then you think about, even locally, um, if you got people that want to start playing golf and they roll up and they're like, holy crap, I didn't know it was,
yeah,
$70 to play
yeah.
around the golf here.
I mean, I've asked some of my Laporte buddies to come down and play Indy, right? They're like, cool. Like, how much is it? Like $40. I'm like, well, are you gonna get two buckets of balls, or what are you doing? Like, we're gonna go play 18. It's bring 70, $80. Or oh my goodness, like we can't afford that. I'm like, well, you guys are used to Laporte County where you're not spending over $42 with a card on the weekend.
Right.
And then that gets you
But
that's an all day rate.
if you think about it, man, it really doesn't seem like it was that long ago that we were paying that at a lot of our local courses. The
Yep.
42, maybe
55,
50 at
60.
some places. Yeah,
Yeah.
you may have been up in the 70s depending on where you were, but for the most part, and granted that was probably before 2020. I can't
Yeah.
remember 2021 didn't seem so aggressive because a lot of courses around here were getting opened back up. So they were trying to get, butts in seats anyway. But, and nothing against any course, especially when you got courses that are on the come up that are doing all these renovations, that are doing all these different things, coming
Yeah.
up with new ways to get memberships, uh, adding simulators. You've got all these other costs, and
Yeah.
they've got to pay for that some way. And I understand that. I get it. But man, if you were just some
Yeah.
19-year-old, 20-year-old kid that wanted to start playing golf or whatever. Whew,
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, when I was at in the men's club at the fort, I was we got a deal. We got $8 off our tea time on Saturday mornings for our men's club events. And it was like cool. I'm paying like $71. What a great deal. Big whoop. But then, the or the starter, most of the time were terrible. The pro shop acted like it was a hassle that you were there. You go out in the range, he drives around, never does anything, just drives around the course, not policing anything. Pace of play was always over 4.5 hours to 5 hours. And if you played on the twilight rate, you couldn't get through. And then they bumped it up to over 100 last year. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to play that course because literally conditions have not gotten any better and the staff hasn't gotten any better. So why would I go pay that extra $30 a round out there to go get the same experience I used to get for 71.
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame because when I think of the fort, and I'm going to be on the wrong side of this conversation real quick, but when I think of the fort and when I've played it, when it's in, I mean, terrific shape,
Yep.
such a
Early
good,
spring.
such a good time. It's
Yep.
such a great
Beautiful.
place. And part of me is like, well, raising the rate ought to bring those conditions back because it's going to lessen the amount of abuse that that course takes.
Nope.
And that part I also understand from a golf course standpoint too is it's not that they're trying to be elitist, but they are trying to at some point they're trying to control also the amount of play they get, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to find that happy medium, right? How to maximize profits while limiting the disturbance to the actual turf conditions.
Right.
Um, and I don't know if there is a right answer to that. Probably somebody probably has figured that math out to make it make sense. Um, but yeah, I mean the fort is, I mean, it ones that always comes to mind. It's a beautiful layout. It's unique to middle of the state, Indianapolis. You're up and down, going through the woods. You don't see those kind of hills anywhere in Indiana really until you get down to southern Indiana. And then by like July, it just gets beat to crap. Divot galore, starts to get brown out there. And it's like, man, if you guys could just turn this thing private and limit the amount of play, this place would be a dreamland.
Yeah, because it is a fantastic layout, honestly. I mean, I know a lot of people knock it, but I think they knock it because of the other things you mentioned, whether it's the guys in the clubhouse, sometimes it seem like you're putting them off for you to be there, and the just the overall condition. It gets
Yeah,
it
they
just
just get
gets
a
out
ton
of
of
hand.
play.
But it's one of those courses that everybody likes. That a lot of people like to go play it. And we've got several courses around that are like that. But there's also several courses that get a lot of play that are in really good shape.
Yeah,
So it can be done. We all know
yep, it's
that.
possible, uh, for sure.
Now, John, I don't know how much LPGA you watch, but did you catch any of the Chevron Championship? I think that would be the first major of the year for the women.
That would be negative.
So let me set the tone for you. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but they put a big sign that's at the back of the green on the 18th.
Okay.
And a lot of the players hit right at that sign at the grandstand so that their ball bounces back towards the green. So it gives you the ability to go long.
Hmm.
And then the where that's perched at, there's a slant that the ground rolls down and then it kind of goes back up a little bit to the green. So if you hit that sign and your ball does not roll back, you get to drop. Well, you can't drop because it rolls down the hill and you got to place it so you set yourself up to have a nice
Yep.
fluffy lie, especially if if it's on the line, why not drive it into the sign, bounce it off there, you know?
Yep.
Um, the weird thing about this was there was a lot of people doing it, but the what's her name? Andrea Chitanagard was leading the event. When she's coming down, her group had been put on the clock for slow play by somebody else in the group, right?
Yep.
Just kind of setting the scene. Well, she in fact does go long. Now they're on the clock, and there's a great video now of her flubbing her chip like it goes zero point 0.5 inches. And you can tell when she's standing over this chip that she's flustered. She's trying to hurry. She flubs that chip, chips up. All she needed to do to par was win. Makes a better chip the second time, misses the putt coming back, goes into like a five women playoff, ends up losing.
Mm. Yep.
So not only is it a bad deal, they've had that sign there for years, but back podcasts ago when we talked about different things that people could do as far as putting players on the clock, what do you think about that now? I mean, when you have somebody else in a group that maybe they're freaking six strokes back.
Yep.
and the leaders in that group, and now you've put that group on the clock and you've put additional, especially in a major, you've put additional pressure on a golfer that's trying to win a major championship,
Hmm.
and then something like that happens. Do you think that, hey, that's the name of the game, that's the situation? Or do you think that's undue pressure at that moment that she didn't do it, she didn't need it, but she got what she got?
I mean, I think it's just it is what it is. Like if you're playing slow, speed it up.
Well, I understand that if, but by putting the entire group on the clock over one player's actions, I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to, to keep the discussion going. If you're gonna play
Yeah.
that side, I'll play the other side. It just doesn't
Yeah.
seem, man, I
Yeah, it's
don't know. It
unfortunate.
doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right. That's where it comes down to, I think, a point system or something like that. Yes, I do agree that they should come up and say, hey, you're playing slow. I get it. We need to step it up.
Yeah, I
And
mean that's why you got
maybe
to
you go over
define.
and say something to her and say, hey, look, you guys are being put on the clock. I
Yeah.
understand your position in this tournament. I'm just asking you to be cognizant of the situation that we are on the clock.
Yep.
I'm not trying to put any pressure on. I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but and that may not be why I mean the girl, she's a great player. I've watched LPGA whenever I can find it. I've never seen her make a mistake like that. And in that situation, it just seemed like when she was over that ball, she was really quick to hit it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like she knew of the situation.
Yeah. I mean, you're playing a major in the LPGA. Got to show up. Got to be ready for all the punches. I mean, it sucks, but I mean that's why you just have to have clearly defined rules. You know, and maybe they should time everybody. Like, hey, you get once you get to your ball, this is how much time you have. If you're in a penalty area, this is how much additional time you get. There should be just clearly defined. That way, it's not open to interpretation at that point. It should be clear, clear as mud.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. And the LPGA is definitely generally a lot faster than the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
I mean, on a regular
Yeah.
basis, just every tournament. Well, John, how important do you think a player caddy relationship is, and how important do you think the caddy is on an entirety of a player's career, or even on just a tournament by tournament basis?
Yeah. It probably is going to depend on the player, right? Um, I'd say that's a tough one. I would say it's more important to some than it is others. I mean, if you just get I mean, look at Tiger. He went through, a handful of different caddies over the time. He still won bunch of tournaments. Like Scheffler's caddy is his only caddy that I've seen him with, but I mean, I don't think Scheffler would need any specific caddy to still go out there and win tournaments. But probably does bring some level of confidence or uh, comfortability with knowing like, hey, this guy knows down to the inch how far I hit every shot and what shot shapes I can hit. Um, when I play with Jeremy on my playing lessons or when we played our match or whatever, like he doesn't even tell me a club. He just hands me what club I need to hit. I don't even have to think about distance, right? He just, here you go, here's your club. I go, cool, just walk up and hit that thing. So that's a good feeling. And it's probably to that times 10 times degree with a pro caddy. Because they're getting, I mean, they step everything off ahead of time. They know the greens, they know the slopes, and then know their guy obviously really well. So I would say for some, it really helps out. For the just pure athletes, I don't think it matters as much because I think they'd still figure out a way to win regardless of who's on the bag.
Well, I'll say this. Scotty Scheffler never sniffed the winner's circle until Ted Scott got on his bag. Scotty was a hell of a collegiate athlete. He's a great golfer. We all know that. But I think that relationship has helped him along, regardless of what it is that they conversate about or
Yeah.
how they react to one another. Another great story is as far as what the caddy means is when Steve Williams got on the bag for Adam Scott and he was in that playoff in basically in the dark in the Masters
Yeah.
on the 10th green. Basically the story goes that Adam was having trouble seeing it and Stevie said, "Hey, this breaks a lot more than you think it does." And he was like, "Well, I only saw it a ball out." And Stevie said, "No, it's two cups out. Trust me." And he said, "Okay," hits that putt and wins it.
Yeah.
So I bring this up because we had the recent Joe Griner, who's childhood friends with Max Homa, leaves Max Homa, gets on JT's bag. Here comes JT storming along, wins the RBC. Now announced, what it might have been today or yesterday, that Colin Morikawa has now put Joe Griner in his bag and got rid of his longtime caddy. So I think it's interesting
Yeah.
the way these guys move around, and it does seem like, for lack of a better phrase, that some of these guys are golfer whisperers. That they just, maybe it's how they. Because I know me and you would love it if you had a caddy. If we had a caddy all the time, we said, "Hey, I'm going to be playing Sagamore this week. you know, um, get my yardages, get my clubs ready, I'll be at the course." You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You got all your balls, your
Yeah.
tees are
Make
ready,
sure
your clubs.
cocktails in the cart are ready for me to go.
But you got to think of how their whole lives, that's all they have for the most part. So the caddy goes up the course, the caddy walks off all the stuff like you were talking, has everything ready. It's all set up. He
Yeah.
knows you, he knows what you want,
Yep.
and he has it all set up. And you know, you just trust it.
Yeah.
They're like, "No, this you need to hit this. This is the yardage." Oh, okay. All right. And they hit it, and a lot of times they're right. And then you see um I forget what player it was, but his caddy gave him the wrong club and he hit it over the green,
Yep.
and he kind of looks back at, and they laughed it all.
Yeah.
They laughed it off when you have that kind of relationship. But I think it's an interesting dynamic when you think about that you're with this person more than your family for the most part through
Yeah.
an entire season. You're with them day in and day out for, at least 4 or 5 days straight at the course.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah. I mean, most of the time those guys are getting in on, a Tuesday. So they're really spending Sunday night at home potentially, or just 2 days a week, you know?
I mean, the caddy's life's even worse. The caddy's pretty much just getting done Sunday, and he may be flying
Yeah.
out, depending if it's a major. I would assume those guys are landing there Monday
Which,
night on the
yeah.
ground on
Well, what they
Tuesday.
do is they put the flag in on 18 after the final round on the previous weekend, and then they fly out and they're going to go walk the course on Monday or Tuesday, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think there's a lot more to that relationship. I understand with uh, Tiger. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever know, despite the little stuff you hear from Stevie Williams, but you really never know in that time frame how much talking or confidence that or anything that Tiger, built any kind of relationship. He just
Yeah.
kind of did his own thing, and there are a few of those guys out there, but there's not a lot, that's for sure. They're all using every available asset they can anymore, and which obviously seems to be working.
Yeah, I mean, it would be awesome. I mean, I got excited when Jeremy said, we were talking about our match. I go, I'm still playing kind of bad. And he goes, don't worry, I'll have the nooners ready for you. You know, confidence is already up.
Setting a standard.
setting the standard early. So I mean, for us, I think it would be awesome to have a caddy all the time. But one, it's not feasible because there's a monetary value. No one's going to do that for free. And I don't make enough money off my $5 bets that it'll help pay for anything.
Yeah, and well, really, it's one of those things though. You kind of you caddy a little bit for each other when you're riding together anyway. And you're like, oh
Yeah.
man, is that what do you think I should hit here? And, it's normally, you might want to go one club up or blah blah blah. You kind of have that, but
Yeah.
not at the same level that we would love to
No.
have it.
But if you're playing, I mean, most of the two main events, you and your partner, me and you were like, hey, this 165, I think it's probably playing 170 today, you know, go up a club. And we do that well. Or what do you see on this read? But if you're just playing a normal round, individual game and not a two man, one best or whatever, you really don't get as much of it. You might ask the other guy, well, what'd you shoot there? What'd you hit? Just to try to get a quick feel. And that's about the extent of it, right?
Yeah, and I think we take a lot for granted as golfers, especially if you think about when you're in a scramble. Most of us know if you're going to go out first, whatever you got to hit to put a ball in play,
Yep.
put the ball in play.
Yep.
And you're also always dependent on a guy that, hey, you're flushing your irons, just get us on the green so that maybe we can take a more aggressive line.
Yep.
And that first guy, the part I hate is when you're putting and you're in a
Yeah.
scramble and you're putting and everybody's trying to get a read. Don't you just wish the first guy would hit the damn thing straight and let's see what it does?
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
always
I
that guy
love
go, what do
going.
you see here? And I'm like, just aim right at the hole. Just aim
Yeah.
right at the hole and let us see what the putt does.
Yep.
And then we all get to read instead of guessing about it. And you hit a line that we're not even sure of, and it gives us zero shit to go off
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. It's definitely on the questionable ones. I mean, I like putting first in scrambles. I think it relieves a lot of the pressure of not having to make it. And I've normally put a more confident stroke on it because there's no pressure. But yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it'd be fun. I know we've had a great time when we've had caddies before. I think it's pretty interesting, especially when you can just kind of yuck it up and you got somebody that's got inside information. And
Yeah.
if you're having even a mildly bad round or whatever, generally you get lost in that conversation from tee to green, and before you know it, you're playing a lot better because you're really not focusing on
Yeah.
the crap you just did 40 yards back or whatever.
100% facts. I mean, I love not having to pick out a club. I love just, yep, hit it. Here's your club swing. I don't know what I'm hitting. I don't look at it. It just frees you up.
Now, the other question I got for you, John, does a player from Live Golf need to win a major this year to keep Live more relevant?
No, not really. I don't think. I think it'll happen. Even if it's not this year, next year. I think it'll happen within the next 2 years.
Well, they had a pretty I forget what the ratings number were for the Mexico. They just had Joaquin won that, but the ratings
Again,
are way down, and I don't know. We're always on this show. We're about more golf, the better golf. It doesn't matter. Um, but I when I started thinking about that, I do think that that's a big component because in the last couple years, I mean, Liv's been right up there, and I mean, I think they had what three of the major winners or two of the major winners last year.
yeah.
So you start thinking about that, and I think it does shine a light on them a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. For sure. I mean, I think viewership in general on PGA tournaments is down. So it doesn't
yeah,
surprise me that lives down. They're all kind of down. So it'd be, I don't know what will boost it. I don't think either Live or PGA has figured out how to boost ratings to where people were checking in on Thursday around, Friday around, Saturday they're watching half of it, and then Sunday they're just glued. I mean, My dad and I used to just sit for 6 hours on a Sunday, and we wouldn't get off the couch besides to go get something to eat or use the restroom. So that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I think Live still I would still say they're kind of in their infancy a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I think the I think where it lies is somewhere in between what they're doing and more in the YouTube space, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I think that's the I think PGA and I think they see that. Um, and obviously a lot of the live guys see that. If they did more of that, um, I think that's gonna open a lot of younger eyes. I think some of the older generation, maybe not. Like we said before, I enjoy that because I consume it when I want.
Yep. Yeah, you're
You know
not
what I
stuck
mean?
to a certain window of time.
Yeah, you don't, if I'm getting ready to, if I want to watch something for a half hour before I go to sleep, I can pop that on and watch that
Yep.
or whatever. But I think that I think that's where I really think that's where the future
Yeah.
of a lot of golf really does lie. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get rid of the majors, nothing like that. I don't want people to think I'm some kind of whack job, but golf tournaments have their place. But I think viewership is down across the board regardless. I don't think anybody's really seeing huge numbers. You can't
No.
compare Sunday at Augusta or Sunday at any major to a regular event.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not a YouTube golf fanatic, but I do love what I mean, I'm a Phil fan, so I've been watching all his matches with Grant. And I think that's fun. Right. I watched the Creator Scramble Classic with the Live guys. I thought that was cool. It's a half hour, 35-minute long video.
Oh, the duels. Yeah.
Yep, it was fun. It's not as serious. It's still competitive, but it's not as serious where, it's not real quiet. They're making people are joking around with each other and like seeing what Josh Allen change Phil's um,
Rangefinder.
rangefinder from, yards to meters. Like just that's pure gold, you know. And you could see he was shocked and stunned that it happened to him.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, it'd be no different if that's how if DJ went about doing that. Now he's a little bit different because just the way his personality is.
Yeah.
But even with, put Cam Smith out there with somebody, something like that. I mean, I, I watch it every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Now
I
if you
think,
can get if you just mic up Justin's brother, then you'll get plenty of commentary. Because
oh, I know
Justin,
he's
he
hilarious.
yeah, he's got a great personality.
Yeah, I would like to see him and like Cam Smith on a team against Phil and Grant or something like that.
Yeah.
Something along that lines. And we maybe I know Phil listens to the show. So Phil, I think if you want to do something really cool, what you should do is also have two caddies play you guys, or have a
Mhm.
player and a caddy play.
Yeah.
Because you want to talk about some guys that know how to talk shit. It's the caddies.
Yeah.
They don't take a lot of crap, and most of them are sticks, dude. Most of them are
Yeah.
really good golfers.
Yeah. You can ask Anthony Rose how he liked his caddy bet.
Well, John, that's really what I wanted to touch on today. I don't know if you have anything else that you'd like to talk about. We do have an upcoming interview with Donnie Dotson with Cary Golf coming soon. Um, One of their guys just won the PGA Professional Championship. So it'd be cool to have him on, discuss the way that their company works and what they do and what they offer. And anybody listening wants to get a jump on that, want to check that out. It's carry.golf. It's pretty interesting. They help out golfers, and I'd be wise to check that out if you're so inclined or your company is so inclined to jump in there. I think that's also awesome. But John, you got anything else?
Club Pro guy's back. For everybody that didn't know, he
Oh,
is back and he's out of the cellar. So that's always good to see him coming back. And I'm looking forward to more posts and videos from him coming out. So
and I'm hoping my little back situation heals up because me and John have a little upcoming match May 18th at Purgatory, correct?
Rock Hollow, I thought.
No, I'm talking about me, you, Ty, and Tony. Are we still playing Purgatory on the 18th?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yep.
Oh, ooh, forgot about that.
Yep.
So we'll be on the course together for that, and then yeah, we'll have an upcoming match at Rock Hollow, date to be determined. I think I don't know if our man, Mr. Matt Blair, has
No, not
gotten
yet.
jumped in the chat to let us know his availability. So we're
Yeah.
trying to even that series up on whatever day. Hopefully, obviously, hopefully later when we get out of the showers that we've got coming in. It's
Yeah. I didn't even play choose up today because it was supposed to. I looked at the forecast, like 80% chance of rain, and I'm looking outside right now and it's sunny and beautiful.
Yeah, I'm hoping a lot of this pushes because I'm supposed to play Rock Hollow on Sunday, Hawthorns on Monday.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that holds out, and then I'm supposed to play Lakes on Wednesday,
Hmm.
and then Sagamore that following Monday.
Yeah, that'll be a tester for the old back, the sciatica, that
Oh,
nerve
it's
going.
not even that. It's right up in the middle of the back. Whatever I did when we were at Macklemore, I'm going to blame that hotel. Hotel was great. Don't get me wrong. Bring your own pillow. They had those feather pillows, and I don't know what I did, but man, it got right down and just below the shoulder blade area, right there in the middle. I mean, you can ask uh, Justin McCrans making crayons. When I played at Purgatory, man, if I laid back on that seat, I was almost in tears. It was just,
Yeah,
it
tough.
definitely hurt. So I've been going to the chiropractor, stretching out, doing all the stuff, and hopefully we'll get it worked out.
Yep.
But as always, everybody, we appreciate you listening. This is going to go out pretty much immediately because we are behind on publishing our podcast this week. But appreciate everybody listening. Like, follow, subscribe. Again, any listeners, North Myrtle Beach area near the Barefoot Resort. I'm going to be there in June. It's posted on our Facebook page, on our Instagram. I'd like to get three guys to join me to try to play the die course there at the Barefoot Resort, or ladies, whatever. I'm open to playing with whoever. Reach out. Let's do it. Um, Other than that, John,
Yeah.
you have a good evening. It was nice talking to you, buddy.
You too, man.
Talk to you later.